Man, these motherfuckers are fucking up. I tell you what. Fucking paying for 48-hour access, and they're like, sorry, we didn't know about this issue that people were telling us about 2 days ago.
So talking about Sony. So
I'm talking about Sifu, by the way, guys.
Sifu. Welcome back to another beautiful podcast / we just talk about games and shit. Today we are going
basically a podcast.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about something fun in what was the word? In like celebration for Horizon 2 coming out in just a week. And what's the other game that you can't get access to even though you paid for it?
2 weeks.
Sifu? Snifu?
Sifu? Snifu?
Snifu? Sniffy
Sifu.
Today we're going to celebrate with ranking the first party exclusives for PS4 because PS5 is too new to do that. What that means, as we had to kind of review because we were a little confused, is first party games made from first party studios of Sony. So that excludes Bloodborne, Death Stranding, things like that. Or third party exclusives like Persona 5 and things like that.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, because that would be a lot harder for me because there's a lot of games I love third party exclusive.
Yeah, that's actually true. When I thought about that, if this was a third party list as well of exclusives, this list would probably be like twice as long.
Yeah, easy.
At least.
I mean, if we're talking about like every fucking,
we'd be here for 2 hours.
Yeah. So with this list, though, as you can see, they're all below, and we're not putting them in any ranking right now because we're going to just place them in there. So this is not the order that worst from best or best from worst. We're just going to go in this way and kind of put them in. Robbie is going to do it on his screen, and then about halfway we'll switch to see where everything is lining up on each other's screen, and then switch back, and then at the end we will switch again so we could see the comparison.
This list also does not include remasters, so no Shadow of the Colossus remaster, no Uncharted remasters, no Last of Us remaster. Like, this is strictly like first party PlayStation 4 games.
Yeah, which actually is a pretty good amount. It looks like maybe like 2 a year for like 8 years. So that's not was it 8 years? Something like that. Yeah.
7 years.
7 years. So we're gonna jump into it. You'll see footage below of usually the game I'm talking about. I don't know if we're gonna download every single one of these games to get a footage. I don't think anybody cares about some of these. So let's just jump into it with Concrete Genie. What a game that I did not play. So that's just gonna have not played. I don't even know what it is. Do you know what the hell it is?
So it's actually it's a VR game, but I think also you can play it with a controller. It's basically like you're this kid who's somewhat of like a graffiti artist, but basically like everything that he paints and draws comes to life in the world. So you're basically you can basically like create your own monsters and stuff. Like it's kind of like a platformer in that sense, but you're also, you know what? From what the little footage I've seen from it, it looks similar to Okami, but more interesting. So I always wanted to try it. I think I have it on PS Plus. I think they made it free.
I'm sure.
Like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
So I do want to try it, and I probably will. But I always heard it, people talk about it as a VR game. Until I realized later, oh no, you can play this with a controller. So I do want to try it, but I have not played it. But I've heard mixed things about it, but from what I've heard, it's mostly good.
Okay, so that's both have not played. So that's an easy one. That goes right there. Okay. Now a game that is I feel like is split in the community, Days Gone.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah, I feel like it has a hell of a following now. And this game really surprised me with the trailers. I was really excited when they showed like the hordes of zombies and stuff. And I played it, and I think there are parts that I enjoy. I think the voice acting is really solid. I think the environments look great. It's very much like out in the wild, kind of like third-party Far Cry 4 style going on. Saying that, though, I got bored extremely quick with this game. About 3 hours in, I know some people are like, what? It's 30 hours. How could you judge it? I'm sorry. If you don't hook me in 3 hours, unless you're fucking Persona 5 that you're
I was gonna say unless you're Persona 5.
Yeah, it's just not gonna work for me. So I think it for fans, they probably love it. But for my personal rating, I'm just gonna put it in that D section because it did almost nothing for me after the first like 30 minutes. I felt like the mission structure was repetitive. Fucking getting gas is annoying. I thought that like the gameplay looked good, but then like the combat looked old, like it felt old, like it's that weird mix. Yeah, for me, it didn't really do much for me.
You know what my issue with Days Gone is?
There's a better game called Last of
It
Us.
it's got a lot of systems in place that could potentially make it interesting. It's just that none of those systems I feel like were executed well, so it was boring.
Yeah, it
Like
definitely needed more time.
and not just that, like you said, I feel like the voice acting is good. I feel like the acting overall is good.
Yeah,
Like the mocap work, all that stuff.
yeah.
And it had some like badass moments in it where I did something. I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty cool. But I don't feel like the animation is that great. I don't feel like the gunplay feels like tight or solid.
It doesn't.
Like running out of gas, yeah, in the middle of a fucking town, you're trying to get somewhere and having to go find it is bullshit.
It's not fun. It's that
Yeah,
part's not
like,
fun. It should
but see,
be
like,
fun.
it's that realistic nature of like, you know, some of these type of exclusives where it's like they're trying to add some type of realism. It's like I get it, but you're a video game man. But you heard what I think, who was it? I think it was the director or someone for Days Gone came out and basically said,
You should have bought.
if you guys wanted a sequel, you should have bought it at full price.
Yeah.
Support developers at full price. Don't buy games on sale. It's like,
Well, give us a better fucking game and I'll buy it at full price, guy.
You had one of the biggest publishers in the world backing
Yeah.
you. Like, it's not their fault if you fucked up and fumbled it.
And the game was extremely glitchy when it came out. Now they did fix a lot of
Extremely,
that,
yeah.
but
It
not
was a
when
Witcher
came out.
situation.
Yeah,
Dude, I was doing rolls and like flying up 20 feet in the air.
yeah. So I think I'm gonna put it in the D. I know there's a cult following and people love this game but for me, I can't give it any higher than a D, honestly.
Well, I'm not gonna say what mine are, so I want to see if
we're gonna okay. Well,
So
when
I think when we get to 9, which is halfway, we switch, and then at the end we switch back.
Awesome. All right, so Dreams, another game I haven't played, so I'm just gonna put it not have not played. I assume that's similar to
NA, not applicable.
What? Yeah, is it like Journey, something like that? One of those type of games.
It's more like Minecraft meets like Little Big Planet from everything I've heard. I gotta tell you, like we said when we were doing our Game of the Year of 2020, I've seen some incredible looking things in it. It's almost like a game creator.
Yeah, I have no interest
like
in
it.
that, though.
I don't either because I'm not a creator gamer. Like
Yeah.
I'm not into Minecraft and like stuff like that. I think the most I ever messed around with something in terms of creating something was like Halo 3 Forge.
I didn't even do. Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah. Because
that was like the biggest thing that I messed around in. But with Dreams, I've like Minecraft. I've seen some incredible things built in it, so I would like to see it for that sense. But I've not played it.
I think the same thing goes for everybody golf, which is weird because I usually like those golf games that are more like animated and fun, over the top, like Mario. And things, but I have not played this. I don't know if it's any good. I have not heard of it, so I don't know if it got. But again, that's just going to have not played.
Is it Everybody's Golf? Okay, I thought it was Everybody Loves Golf because there's another game that came out called Everybody Loves Golf.
Or maybe that is it. I don't know. I can't see. It's a tiny little baby.
I don't think it is. Yeah, I think it's just Everybody's.
But yeah, I'm just gonna put that in. Have not played because I have not played it.
These next two. Oh,
yeah. So so let's move on to a game we actually played. Ghost of Tsushima. I think we both were pretty clear in our Game of the Year that this is a solid game. This is not a bad game. It's not. It's a very well crafted. Yeah. And it's missing, like I said in my review and in our Game of the Year, it's missing something. And sometimes I can't tell you what that something is. I feel like it's a heart. Like you got the structure, you got the world, but I don't have any like feeling to finish or compelled to.
I know what it is for me.
Well, I'll let you say, but I'm just gonna finish with. I think it's a solid game. The combat is solid. There's some excellent story beats here that don't fully go, and I love Jin. I just don't like anybody else in the game. So saying that, I did put like 25 hours in this game. So obviously I enjoyed it. It's just not the grade A caliber I wanted from the creators of Infamous. But as it stands, I'm still putting it in a B. I still think it's a very good game, just not a great or one of the best games.
It's missing a good story.
But okay, I want to ask you, do you like Jin? Because I like Jin.
I
just
love
don't.
Jin.
Yeah, but
I think Jin
story.
Jin is an excellent character. He's very well acted. Like
Yeah.
I personally love his voice and just
Mhm.
the way that he delivers his character.
And his
I think that
battle with
I think
himself.
that guy that plays I think that guy that plays him is great.
Yeah.
I think the battle between, being dishonorable and honorable is terrific.
So good.
I think the stuff with his uncle is really good. I think his uncle as a character is good as well. But the thing is, besides
Yeah.
him and his uncle, there wasn't really a whole lot of other. Well, actually, no. Let me correct myself. I think Masako and Ishigawa are
Is that the
they're
is,
the ones that are fucking awesome.
is that the woman with the bow?
Yeah,
Okay.
and the guy with the bow.
So like I like those characters, but I feel like they didn't do enough with the story with those characters, right?
They didn't
Okay.
because they were side characters and they
Yeah.
had side stories.
Yeah.
They were side story characters. But the thing is, I felt like their side stories were better than some of the main missions.
100%, 100%. The side missions were better than the main mission.
Because Ishikawa is a terrific character. Like Masako is a terrific character. I actually started replaying it. Like I started from the beginning on PS5 for the director's cut. A few weeks ago, I played probably like 5-10 hours. I'm gonna go back to it eventually because I've been enjoying it from what I'm playing. I think what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mainline the story more because my issue was when I got to the second island, I felt so overpowered fighting enemies that the combat became boring.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to play it more. I think I'm playing on hard. I can't remember, but I'm trying to make it a little more challenging for myself so that it doesn't get as boring. Because I love that combat. I think that combat system is great. But and that's the thing. Like I had this, I think, with a lot of games in my younger days. When you feel so overpowered, when you get to a certain section, the gameplay loop can become just repetitive because you're not challenging yourself. Because I think with reward comes challenge.
I agree.
And if you're not getting that reward of like beating a really hard boss fight like a Sekiro, then there's really no point. I feel like to keep playing, especially if the story isn't that interesting too.
Yeah. Okay, so you're not going to reveal it now, right? Where you would put it? Okay. This is going to be interesting when we get to this.
We'll do I'll show you at when we get the second son.
Second
3,
son.
6, 9, 12,
yeah.
13, 14, 15,
second
16,
son,
17,
yeah.
18, 19. Oh, 19.
Or after Killzone. One of the two. Okay.
We'll do after second son.
Okay. And so God of War, this is the reimagined / sequel / soft reboot, whatever you want to call it. Obviously one of the most critically acclaimed games. I also really enjoyed it. I believe I gave it an 8.5. I think this is, I mean, Sony has the fucking hold on cinematic games. And this game definitely is up there. I think that God of War is one of the nicest looking games I've ever seen. I also think that the story, especially anything to do with the father-son relationship, is amazing. The ending is quite a stinger out there. So yeah, I really enjoy God of War. Saying that, I wasn't a huge fan of the combat after a while. It felt a little boring for me. And then I also wasn't a huge fan of like going on the boat and all the time. I know some people love those stories. I was not feeling them. So there's definitely flaws for me in this game, but I really enjoy God of War. I think it is one of the best looking games ever, and that really pushes it for me. And the story is really solid. However, with the flaws, I'm going to put it in the B section, but ahead of Ghost. So it's like right below. If there was a B plus section, that would be where God of War is. Like it's on the cusp of being the A for me for like great, but not quite there. So we're going to put it in the B where it's very good.
What'd you think of Mimir?
He's the guy in the beginning, right?
No, Mimir is that's Baldur. Mimir is
the head.
He's stuck in the tree and basically like
he's pretty funny. I mean, that's the thing. All the characters are really, really interesting. I mean, the most hype I got is at the end where you know who's coming and you're just like, oh shit. And not to spoil it, guys, but it's a pretty old game now. The twist with
who are you?
Well, what's his son's name?
Atreus.
Atreus. The twist, oh my God, how I didn't see that coming after playing this game with who he is really or who he's going to be is crazy. But yeah, I'd say it's a very good game. It's so close to being great for me that it made me so excited to play the second one, which I think they will improve in every way. And that game should hit A or even S if it's going to be as good as I think it's going to be. But yeah,
I can't wait for Ragnarok. I was reading reports recently of someone I think data mined. They data mined like GameStop or something like that, and they were able to find that there was a placeholder date for it in September of this year. I could see that being a possibility.
Yeah,
but I also would not be upset if it was pushed back to next year because
I think it might come
like,
out this year.
As I've already said, like this is a duology. Like they're not making a third one, and honestly, like I would love that because we both know how God of War 3 would. Like God of War 3 is a perfect example of something that
stretched too far.
That starts off so great that you're playing this and like this might be not only the best God of War, but like one of the best games I've played.
And then you get to the second half.
And then after you fucking fight Hercules.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I didn't mention in our Game of the Year video? The one fight, two fights after you fight Hercules and that fucking decline drops. The two fights that I felt like were worthy up on a God of War scale level were Kronos and Zeus.
Oh yeah, like, there's still the boss fights that are great.
But that was it.
The rest of the shit in between.
When you get to like that fucking like chain section and you're building that goddamn box and you have all of these fucking sections that are basically like challenge rooms, it sucks.
It's padded. It's a padded experience where you
it's filler. It's filler bullshit.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate. So bringing it back to the main focus, I don't want that to be a Ragnarok situation. I do not think it will be. Yeah, I did not feel that at all with this. I think if I'm being honest, like I started replaying recently too. I'm a game hopper, guys. I'm playing 50 games at once. I'll play one game, start it, play it for like 5 or 10 hours, then come back to it fucking 2 months later. That's just how I've been probably for about the better part of like 10 years now. But what I love most about God of War is I think that the gameplay loop of it is really solid. I think the pacing of it is really strong, and I think the world is the best of any God of War.
I would agree with the world for sure.
Yeah, well, not just as like I'm a much bigger fan of Norse mythology than I am of Greek mythology. Yeah. So the stuff with Jormungandr, the stuff with Ymir, the stuff with Mimir, the stuff with like Balder and Magnus and Modi. Like I like all that stuff, and then of course like the reveal at the end with Thor. Like I like all that shit. Like, and not just that, it's really cool to see Kratos like immersed in that world.
Yeah.
To see to basically see what the differences is with him as a Greek god as compared fighting Norse gods. So I'm not going to say where it is for me now. I'm going to show you in a bit, but I will say that I adore it. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played.
Well then, I'm gonna guess S, but I guess we'll see. Gran Turismo. I'm not gonna talk about much. Haven't played. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I've been.
So let's move on to a game that we both played and have very different opinions because you only played you tried a few times to really get into it and never really gelled with you. On the other hand, for me, I don't know if I played it at the right time. I don't know if it just connected to me on a whole nother level.
I downloaded it again because I'm going to try it on PS5.
Well, they have the PS5 version has the 60 frames and all that now.
I think it's 4K 60.
Yeah. They just put that in a couple of months ago. So Horizon is one of those games that I just fell in love with, and Robbie here knows, and you guys might not know, but for me to really stick to a game nowadays, it's pretty hard. Like I play games, but usually about 10, 15 hours, I'm out. Horizon, I put 40 hours easy, and I was having a blast the whole time. So yeah, Horizon is just to me one of those games that I did not expect to love as much as I did. I am not a huge fan of that developer. I don't really like the Killzone games that much, but I was actually really pleasantly surprised with Horizon. And it just blew me away. I love Alloy, I love the world. I love the designs of the fucking robot dinosaurs. I've never seen that, except maybe fucking Transformers. And yeah, the combat was super fun for me. Yeah, I just love this game. So I'm gonna put that in the S as it's one of my favorite exclusives on the PlayStation 4.
How do you feel about the story in Horizon? Because, like, if I'm being honest, I
Uh,
think I've tried it. I think I've started and tried it like 2 or 3 times now. I don't know. I think a reason for me not sticking with it is I feel like the story isn't particularly engaging enough for me.
the story is it's solid enough. It gets really interesting about halfway when you get the big reveal. But the thing with it is the story itself, not I wasn't that excited, but Alloy, her journey and her growth to a character of being like kind of leader and dependable. I loved all that. I was connected to Alloy. And I think the good thing about this game is it was still cinematic, but once you get out of the first like 2, 3 hours of the whole, learning the training grounds and everything, there's a story, but it's definitely the backdrop to the gorgeous gameplay. Gorgeous graphics and gameplay. It doesn't feel as cinematic as their other games, like God of War is very story driven and Spider-Man story driven. While they have good gameplay, that's their focus too.
This is
Uncharted.
very much an open world game.
This is open world, and it has some really cool cutscenes. There's some sudden
It's like
deaths I didn't
Ghost.
expect.
It's similar to Ghost.
Well, I feel like Ghost definitely tries to put a lot more story because even the side missions feel like
Yeah.
like
Well,
they're
Ghost is definitely more
cinematic.
cinematic.
Yeah.
This is based. This is a video game as video game.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think the biggest thing, if it wasn't story, is the environment for me. I was just absorbed into just exploring and finding out more of these
I will
robot monsters.
I will say I think the sound design and the music in it is outstanding.
Yeah,
I
the
think
voice
I think the
acting is always
music
good.
I think the music's terrific. I think the voice acting is great, and I think the sound design for the machines is fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna maybe I'll start today. I don't know if I can't play fucking Sifu. Maybe I'll
And
just
my
start Horizon.
play something. Okay,
But
so
yeah, I think you'll be surprised where I put it. But fucking mosquito in here, some shit. I think you'll be surprised where I put it because again, I think Horizon's a very well made game. I think it's a very well made game from a developer that I think has a franchise I'm not a big fan of, which is
Yeah.
like you said, odd.
which is so
Um,
weird.
But I'm gonna put it where I'm gonna put it because I think it has more potential for me to really like for me to fucking for it to get its hooks in me. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it where I
Or
put it right now.
two might blow you away.
Yeah, and
Sometimes that
honestly,
happens.
I'm planning on picking up 2 because like the footage I've seen of 2 looks terrific.
Yeah, especially that
So
combat.
yeah, and when I was looking at that fucking monster video, man, like
Yeah.
that Cobra machine was like awesome.
Dude, the designs are fucking nuts. There's nothing in the
They're
game
terrific.
that's like
Yeah,
it. All right, awesome.
terrific.
So I now I'm interested to see where you do put it. But let's talk about this one. I'm gonna put these two together because I'm just gonna talk about them both because they're kind of the same game really. So there's Infamous First Light and then Infamous Second Son. Infamous Second Son is the full game. Infamous First Light was the kind of DLC that you can play after it. So Second Son is it's such an interesting game.
You're skipping First Light.
Well, I'm going to talk about them together, so I'm going to rank them at
Oh,
the same
okay,
time.
gotcha.
Second Son, definitely one of my favorite franchises is Infamous, but I feel like Second Son definitely felt like the prototype for the PlayStation 4. Like this is what we can do with the graphics and stuff, but it felt kind of empty. It didn't feel as engaging as 2. I wasn't connecting to the main character like I was Cole. And I don't know, like I like some stuff, like I like the grunge feel and the music, but I didn't really like what was it, San Francisco?
Seattle.
Seattle. I didn't really like I just couldn't connect to the city. Saying that, I thought there were some really cool story moments. The ending is quite fucked up if you make a certain choice, and I enjoyed like the look of it, like the attacks and everything looked great. I feel like
The effects in it look beautiful.
Yeah, and
Like
this is like
for a game that came out what 8 years ago, like
Yeah.
9 years ago, like the effects, those effects still look outstanding today.
And I'll say this, talking about First Light is very much the same, except that you are like this neon, like super speedster character, and those effects look even better. So I enjoyed both these games. I think they're solid games. I actually, if I were to just like put them in a ranking, they're definitely both in the B, but I would put this ahead of Ghost. I had more fond memories of Second Son than Ghost, which are the same developers, but I'm gonna put First Light behind Ghost because Ghost is obviously a bigger game than First Light. First Light feels like a fun DLC, but that's it. So yeah, I would put these in B. I had a good time with them. I think they're very good, just not the level of Infamous 2, which I know we're not ranking them here, but that is very, very high on my game list of all time. Well, if you put them in the ranking, then we can switch to your screen because this is the halfway point.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide where I'm gonna throw these.
Okay.
I think actually, yeah, I think that's right.
All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. We're going to switch over to Robbie to see what he has, and let's take a look. See, so we're going to stop, and then you can click share. Hopefully, it works this time.
Supposed to say with 10-split screen share.
How dare they?
Can you? Oh, okay. Yeah, I was hoping you could do it through here. We didn't have to start.
Yeah, no, I think we can do it. There we go. All right. So let's see what we have here. So the have not played are the exact same. Days Gone, same rating. The Second Son, First Light, Horizon B. Ghost A. That one surprised me. God of War S. So I figured God of War would be that. I'd be really surprised if it wasn't. Ghost is my most surprising though. I really didn't think you put it in the A.
The reason Ghost is so high for me is because I've never played a game like Ghost that I feel like really captures the look and feel of ancient Japanese culture and samurai culture. And that's why I think I put it so high for me, because I feel like there's nothing else like it out there in terms of just coming together as a whole package. Like, like they tried to make it like old samurai films from the 50s. I wouldn't say they went there with it, but in terms of capturing like an ancient feel of samurai culture in terms of music, design, combat, look and feel, I think they captured that perfectly. And if I'm being honest, that game has one of the most beautiful worlds I've ever seen. Like,
yeah,
when you're going through that world, man, and like you're on your horse and that music kicks in and like you're seeing the sunrise or like the sunset, like it's honestly one of the most beautiful open worlds I've ever seen. And just design, it's one of those beautiful designs I've ever seen too. And as someone who adores and loves Japanese culture, like and samurai culture in particular, I think that's why I put it so high. Like permitting issues aside, like I think it is definitely one of the best PS4 games come out. Dude, it's the fastest selling PS4 game of all time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's sold like I think 13 million copies in like 4 months.
I believe it.
It fucking sold like crazy, and that's why they're making a second. And
well,
they're talking about doing a movie.
And you also had the fact that Ghost came out at the end of the PS4 life cycle, so that's the most time people own a system. But yeah, no, I like Ghost. Then that's why I can't put any lower than B. But yeah, that one surprised me. But everything else we're pretty much on par almost.
Yeah, you definitely have a few more Bs. Yeah, you have a few more Bs than I do, but Second Son and First Light, I personally enjoyed them. The reason I put Second Son ahead of Horizon is because I beat Second Son.
Yeah.
And I think I started a second playthrough, but I really enjoyed Second Son. I liked Nelson as a character, just like you said, like that grunge punk type mentality.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Native American character, which is
always nice,
or indigenous. Want to go with a more modern word for it, but which is rare. I mean, like how many games do we have today where there's a protagonist with an indigenous character?
I think the last one I played literally was like Prey. Like the remake Prey.
Yeah, and
I didn't
even play fucking Prey. Yeah, so there you go. But I really enjoyed Second Son. I think the powers in it are really well done.
Yeah.
I think the effects, like I said, are terrific.
Mhm.
The story is interesting, I feel, in sections. I just don't feel like it's particularly like well paced. But
That's his biggest issue. Yeah.
it has interesting characters.
Mhm.
It has
His
interesting
brother.
moments. Yeah, like it has interesting moments and dynamics, but I just can't feel like there's something off about the pacing.
Yeah.
Um, so because of that, I feel like I can't put it higher than that.
Mhm.
But I loved Second Son when I played. I really enjoyed it. And I honestly enjoyed First Light because I actually really love Fetch as a character.
Yeah.
I think she's terrific. I love her attitude. I love her style.
Her
Like,
powers are so cool looking.
yeah, and she's got a terrific backstory.
Mhm.
Just a recovering drug addict. With her boyfriend that overdosed.
Yeah.
Like I really like her backstory. I really like her story. I really like her personality. I loved playing as her. Like you said, like her neon powers are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But like you said, it was like Miles, but like much smaller than Miles.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
So I really enjoyed it, but yeah, I would put it behind Horizon because Horizon is definitely a bigger and better made game because it has more substance to it. But that's my list so far.
All right. Well, we are now halfway through. So if you guys are keeping up, hopefully you have a list yourself. And we're heading into the second half, which arguably are even some of the bigger games. Let's just start off with Killzone.
Early ones and late ones.
Yeah. Well, Shadowfall was a launch title. And honestly, just being honest here, I think it's the best Killzone.
Best Killzone. It is absolutely the best Killzone.
It was a weird game where it was just a fun, solid shooter. It wasn't, the greatest shooter or anything. I'm not gonna lie, but the multiplayer was good enough where I had a good time playing when I did. The graphics were solid. Yeah, I think that's
There's nothing special about it, but it was fun.
Yeah, and I
feel
actually
like that was it.
Watched my review of it because I was like, do I remember this right? Did I like this game? And I did. I said it was a good, solid game. I did give it a 7.5. And so that to me is like in the C section. So that's where it's going. But yeah, I thought it was a fun launch title, better than I ever expected it to be, And so don't have much more to say.
It was better than it had any right to be for Killzone as a franchise. And honestly, that was my first that was my first exposure to using like the touchpad in games, which was something new.
Yes, that's true. It was that kind of revolutionary touch the fucking middle of the pad to do something.
Is this okay? This is Knack 2. Okay, I didn't play Knack 2, but I played Knack 1. Wait, I did play Knack 2. Okay.
You did? Okay, I didn't play Knack 2, so I'm gonna put that. I have not played. But Knack 1 I did play, and I gotta be honest, guys, I had a good time playing this game. I thought the graphics were really good at the time. It was like a launch title or right after.
It was a launch title.
It was one of the only co-op games, couch co-op. So I played this with my wife, and we had a good time. I felt like it definitely felt like, I don't want to say a beta, but it felt like this was just a launch title, like to show the power of the PS4.
Like a tech demo.
Yeah, and you could beat it in like 6 hours. It was very short, but for what it was unique enough that I enjoyed it. Though I have to say, like, once I beat it, I wasn't like, oh, you have to pick up Knack. So I put it right in the C. I think that's a good spot for it. I think it's a solid, fun little platformer with co-op couch or couch co-op, which you don't really see anymore.
Co-op couch, yes.
Co-op couch. Co-oping on the couch.
That's right. Yeah, I enjoyed Knack. I think it was fun.
Yeah.
It had terrific destruction effects and just just showing the power of the PS4 at the time. It was very good for doing that. It was a beat 'em up. It was a very linear beat 'em up. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't necessarily a great game, but it was not a bad game. It was something there. You sat down and played. Yeah, it was there. Like it's something you sat down, you played. It was interesting because it showed the power of the PS4, and like that was it. That's how I view Knack 1 and 2. I'm putting Knack 1 ahead of Knack 2 because I didn't play it for Knack 2. So.
All right. Well, then let's move on to a game that we both, I think, enjoyed. Ratchet and Clank, the remake, right? That's the remake. Yeah. Yep. So this game kind of came out, and I wasn't really that excited for it because I've played Ratchet and Clank so much. I was just like, why the fuck are we remaking a game? Why not just make another one? Came out and I played it. I was like, you know what? This is nice. This is a nice trip down memory lane. This is a nice fun time. They improved all the things that you want to improve: the camera, the combat, the voice act. Everything is improved. It looks better, obviously. Would I say this is like my favorite Ratchet and Clank? No. Would I say that I was surprised how much fun I had with it? Yes. It's kind of in that weird set where it's like better than I expected, or even didn't know I wanted it, but I wasn't blown away where I was like, oh my God, this is the Ratchet and Clank. So with that, it's gonna go into B. I'm gonna put it in front of First Light. But I don't know if I'm going to put it in front of Ghost, because I thought Ghost at least tried to do well. It's not a remake Ghost, so like you said, it's definitely more unique. But yeah, I'm going to put it in the B for Ratchet and Clank.
You got a lot of B's.
I do, which B to me is like that like eight,
it's like
eight,
yeah.
Or I would say like 7.5 is like the low B's to like the 8.5 would be my B section. That's kind of my rating, which is all these games I've rated in that section. So A would be like 8, like a little higher than 8.5, all the way to like 9.5. S is 10 out of 10 for me.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's fair. Makes most sense.
So what did you think of Ratchet and Clank? Or are you gonna say that for what did you think of it?
I'm gonna show it to you.
Okay. All right, Spider-Man. I don't think we really have to talk much about this because we did a whole fucking video on Spider-Man versus Arkham.
We did, and I think we're both gonna put it in the same place.
So. Oh, 100%. Spider-Man's an S. Is it better than Horizon is my question for me personally. I'm going to say no. The reason why is because Horizon blew me away in a surprise. Spider-Man, I expected it to be great. It was just even better than I expected with the story. So Spider-Man still has a couple of little flaws with the side missions, but overall, love it. I'm not going to talk much more. I mean, obviously, very huge fan.
I platinumed that game. It's one of the few like PS4 games I platinumed. The only disappointing part about it was the DLC.
Do you know that Spider-Man is the most platinum first-party exclusive on PS4?
I believe it. I mean, like, as far as like its trophies, it wasn't necessarily like really. Yeah. They weren't really unobtainable, and I think that's why I got them. And because I enjoyed the gameplay loop of it so much, I was incentivized to get the platinum.
Yeah, so, and even if you have to replay stuff, it's fun. Like, it's not a drag to replay parts.
Like, I honestly, like, it was definitely one of those games I felt like when I played when I was a kid, where I just had fun, like, traversing the world and just swinging. Like, I would just go around trying to find, like, those random crimes that would pop up, even though I didn't need any more crime tokens.
Yeah.
You know, I was just going around doing it just so I could
being Spider-Man.
Yeah, just being Spider-Man. Like, that's why I loved it. I think it was one of the best games that came out last generation.
There we go. So I'm assuming it's going to be the S, but if I'm wrong, I'll be surprised. Last Guardian. Did you play
I have this as part of the PS Plus collection that they put out when the PS5 came out. I have not played it. I've seen footage of it. I've heard mixed things on it. I would like to play it. So I've heard a lot of controversy surrounding this. Of something, this game was in development like fucking 10 years. Or
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The development hell
switched over like PS2, then PS3, then PS4. Like,
it was PS3.
Just a mess.
It was PS3 bound. That was what it was going to be, like the second or third.
It was supposed to be a launch title for the PS3, right? Or something like that.
It was supposed to be like the second year of PS3. We're talking
2007.
Yeah, we're talking like 13.
And this came out in what, 2015, 14?
No, I think later. I was already in my new house. I think it was like 2016 or 17. It took a long time for this game to come out. Saying that, it's weird. It's this game that has like the best parts of Shadow Colossus and Ico, and also the absolute worst parts. It's just that fucking enraged moments where it's like it's beautiful to look at. The creature is so cute, is your best friend, and then other times you're like, all right, jump over the thing. He's like, oh, and you're just like, what are you doing? Like, you just want to fucking kill this thing.
I've heard just from the footage I've seen stuff, and like the John Bomb guys talking about it. I think maybe the developers did that of like where I don't know the creature's name, I forgot it, but where he's like reluctant to listen to you because he's a wild, untamed animal. Yeah. So it almost feels like he's just not listening. So you kind of have to like coerce him a little bit.
It's
do it
not
multiple
fun.
times. Yeah, like from a gameplay perspective, it's not fun. But from like a storytelling perspective, it's like, oh, this is a wild animal.
Yeah.
Of course, like it's gonna listen to you when it wants. It's not when you want it.
I mean, there's some breathtaking moments. There's moments where that thing leaps in the air and you're just watching it fly over you and you're just like stunned. You're like, wow.
Yeah, like the
this
set
looks
pieces
amazing.
I've seen. The set pieces I've seen with it.
Amazing. Awesome. It takes the best parts of Shadow of Colossus where you're stunned at those things when you're fighting them. You same thing here. You're just like, and then other times you're just like, what the fuck? So it just goes back and forth.
Yeah, but then I like to look at the combat and I'm like, this.
Yeah, I think everybody should try it because I think some people will absolutely love this game. Wasn't my favorite game, but it wasn't the worst game I played. It's kind of just in the middle. So I'm gonna put that in the C. I think it's like I'll probably give it like a 6.5.
Wow, that's a lot higher than I thought you'd put it.
Yeah, it's better than Days Gone. I had more fun with Last Guardian, but it also was frustrating, so I can't get it higher. I had more fun and less frustration with Knack and Killzone, but I was the unique experience. I think Last Guardian deserves at least a C. So let's move on to
the
most controversial game of the century, Last of Us 2 Part 2. Listen, we talked so much about this in Game of the Year. I fucking love this game. I think it's a great game.
I just finished replaying it recently.
That's right. You just did replay it. So I think it's a great game. Is it as good as Last of Us 1? I don't know. There's parts of it I think are much better. There's parts of it I think are not as good.
I feel like it's not quite there. There's parts that are improved from Last of Us 1, but I feel like as a whole, it doesn't surpass Last of Us for me.
I mean, if we're talking about gameplay alone, it is vastly superior to 1.
Absolutely.
If we're
in
talking
every
about
single way,
graphics, vastly superior to almost every fucking game out there. If we're talking about the structure, the pacing, things like that, the story being controversial at points, things like that, definitely not as solid. Overall, though, very memorable. Loved it. Had so many great memories. I'm gonna put it in the A. There's an A, yay, go A. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna lower this so you can still see. Okay. So did you want to talk about it, or we would talk about it a little bit more when we see yours?
Well, let's close it out and we'll talk
okay.
about this.
I know we've talked so much about Last of Us. I don't know how much we could really talk about. 2 games we didn't talk about much ever is Uncharted.
Which I think we have the same opinion on Lost Legacy, but I think we both have different opinions on Uncharted 4.
Really? I'm curious. Yeah, so probably slightly. So Lost Legacy, I'm gonna put them together because they feel like a together game, but I'm gonna put them separate rankings. So Lost Legacy is the kind of the Miles or DLC.
It was the standalone mini expansion.
Yeah. Which reminds me, there's no Miles here. If there was Miles, that would be in the A. I really, really enjoyed Miles. Almost the S.
Why? I guess Miles doesn't count because it came out like when the PS5 launched. So
yeah, I guess
it was a PS4 game. So.
Yeah, or they forgot to put it on here. Either way, I would put that high. But anyway, Uncharted 4. So Uncharted 4. Like graphic wise, gameplay wise, sound design, voice acting, we're talking about some of the best in the business. That I'm not even gonna like say that's not true. Saying that is also one of the most unnecessary games for me, in my opinion. When I was playing it, every time I was playing, I was just like, did I need this game? Nothing's happening in this game that's blowing me away. Even the big set pieces, which I always expect Uncharted to blow me away, they were cool, like the highway scene and getting dragged by the car. But I'm like, man, you guys are not going to top the plane scene. You're not going to top the fucking collapsing building. You're just not. And the reason you're not is because it's just more of the same at this point. And I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy Nathan's brother. He was just a useless storyline, in my opinion.
I liked him.
Yeah, I did not.
He was definitely an afterthought because he was never fucking mentioned in the first.
That was retcon like a motherfucker.
Yeah, but I honestly love Sam, and a lot of that has to do with this voice actor.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't do it for me. Now, Lost. What's the other one? Uncharted.
Lost Legacy.
Lost Legacy. I enjoyed this one more because it was quicker paced, so I didn't get those fucking boring sections of like going around in a car and doing the mud and do all that shit in Uncharted 4.
I think it did still have some of that driving stuff.
You could skip almost all of it. And the little parts that you
did, more linear.
Yeah, it was like a 5-10 minute thing. Whereas Uncharted 4, there were parts where you have to like drag your car up the mud multiple times. It was just a bore. So I liked Lost Legacy slightly more in the pacing aisle. Saying that, I mean, these games are really solid. I can't give Uncharted these Uncharted anything lower than putting them in the B. Where in the B is the big thing. So I think I'd put Uncharted 4 right behind Ghost. And I think I'd put Lost Legacy right in front of Uncharted 4. I think I had more fun with Lost Legacy. It's been a while since I played these games, but I think overall I remember enjoying Lost Legacy more. But yeah, so this is my list. We're going to switch back to Robbie, but clearly I think that the PS4 generation was a little bit of a mixed bag. I think there's still some very good games. I just don't think there were as many standout knockout titles as PS3. Maybe we'll go back and do that list. That should be fun. But this would be my overall thoughts on the PlayStation 4 era for first party exclusives made by first party studios. So we have 2 in the S, 1 in the A. That's what she said. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the B, 3 in the C, 1 in the D, 0
7 in the B. Oh my God.
In the booty hole. And no
That's
F.
not possible. That's not possible.
I don't think there's any Sony game that's an F for me that I played. On the
Because
PS4.
they don't make bad first party exclusives.
Yeah, they don't make like like fucking.
They might make boring
Cyberpunk.
ones. Yeah, they might make boring ones or like subpar ones. But
Oh no, there's an F on the PS3. There's an F. It starts with L and ends with air.
Yeah.
It
starts with L and ends with air.
Okay, so we're gonna switch back.
Jesus Christ! Even with the fucking 6-axis support, like disabling that,
I couldn't even bother to fucking play that game again.
I tried it. I tried it after they took out the after they did the patch that took out the 6-axis support, and I'm like, this still fucking sucks.
Of course it does. It's a fucking terrible goddamn game.
Which is a disappointment because I was so excited for it.
I know they fucked up dragons.
I was like, it's like you're letting me play as this fucking badass knight who can fucking control and ride a dragon, like, and it can eat dudes and set them on fire and like jump on and off of them like effortlessly, dynamically, and it's like, here's this bullshit. By the way, you got to control everything with your fucking motion control.
And that shit sucked ass. If you think the Wii motion control sucked, fucking PlayStation 3 was beyond shit.
Yeah. Just remember shooting crossbow bolts.
Don't fucking get me started on Heavenly Sword. Go show your list. That's so fucking 6 axis.
You might be surprised. Ready?
I'm ready. Let's see. Wow, you put Last of Us 2 in the S? Really? I totally expected after you replayed it, you weren't.
Did you expect me to put it ahead of God of War?
No, definitely not. That's also a surprise. I'm actually surprised you put God of War ahead of Spider-Man. These both are like conflicting hurtings here.
I still have Spider-Man in S.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
I just think God of War and Part 2 are better games for me.
Okay. Well, no, this isn't too surprising. I say.
What about Uncharted 4 and Ratchet and Clank?
Well, I knew you loved Ratchet and Clank because you told me how much you enjoyed it, so I knew that. Uncharted 4, I'm a little stunned. That's only because we didn't really ever talk about Uncharted 4. You would really put Uncharted 4 that high? So I don't know. Maybe we'll do an Uncharted ranking or Naughty Dog ranking would be fun. But no. Yeah, Uncharted 4 being that
it's my third favorite Uncharted.
Yeah, I mean that does say to the quality of the series. I mean it's definitely one of the strongest series.
I don't think it's on the same level as 2. I don't think it's as good as 3, but I think it's better than 4.
I think that's fair. I think that's probably where I would put it. But yeah, this list is about. I mean, our C's are the exact same almost. If I played that 2 and you play Last Guardians, I feel like we'd be the same. So. Yeah, this is about the rating I expect. The biggest surprises to me on your list are definitely Last of Us 2 and definitely Ghost being that high. Those are the 2 most surprising. And like you said, you recently replayed them both. That to me is even more surprising, but kind of makes me excited to replay both of those games.
Isn't it interesting what's going on. Isn't it interesting that the last two generations, my favorite two exclusives have been two games in one franchise.
Last of Us. Well, I mean, it's Naughty Dog, which Naughty Dog fucking really pushes out some of the greatest games of all time for me.
And I'm a Naughty Dog simp. So.
We are. I mean, you're a real sim. You have fucking Uncharted, Lost Legacy, and Last of Us all in the A and S.
And like, I'm currently in the midst of replaying the Uncharted. I don't know if I told you that. I actually started one like last weekend. I'm trying to rush through one. I actually started playing it on hard, and I started encountering that bullshit.
Oh hell no, not one with that bullshit. Fucking combat. No.
Yeah, I was like, I can't do this, so I just set it to easy. I'm like, I'm just gonna punch everyone. Like, I just want to get through this. Like,
Uncharted 1 is definitely the most aged of all the Uncharted.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm thinking of just quitting it and just like watching the cutscenes on fucking YouTube so I can get to 2.
Two is much better. 2 is the example of improving everything in every way.
I feel like the gap between Uncharted 1 and 2 is probably like one of the biggest gaps in terms of like sequel quality.
I think
anything I've seen,
probably that or Mass Effect. Those are the two that
I would say both of them are there.
Yeah, completely blew me away from how much better they became. So this is a good list. I think. Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think the reason why part 2 is so high for me is because I still think that story is great. I still think that story is very well written. If I'm being honest, I think that it's twice as long as Last of Us 1. So if I'm being honest, I think it might be a little bit too long. And I think the reason for that is I feel like there's some scenes that could have just been cut.
A little too long.
Yeah, we'll see. Like
it's like 29 hours.
I personally feel like the sex scene between Owen and Abby was unnecessary, not because of just it's a sex scene. It's just I feel like it doesn't fit with the world of Last of Us, of what it's been. I understand why it's there. I just feel like it was unnecessary. Like I feel like it could have just ended with like them kissing or like whatever. It's like you see them in bed naked. Like you know what it leads to, but I just feel like I feel like if the editing was a little bit better and if the pacing was a little bit better, like I remember when this came out and we talked about it. If you were bouncing back and forth between Abby and Ellie, that would have been so much better rather than play fucking the first half of the game as Ellie.
You know what
play
it
the
is,
second half of the game as Abby, then going back to playing as Ellie in the epilogue. Like
you
that,
know what the
it
problem
just made
with
it kind
that
of jarring.
Is that me and you knew what happened, unfortunately, because of spoilers. And I agree. For our perspective, I think bouncing back and forth would have kept it more interesting. But for someone who didn't know anything, that drop in the halfway point, literally,
that
I've seen people, playing online. Just
we also didn't know Jesse was going to get killed. So like that actually was a surprise. Like that, I still think that fucking scene where it's just like Ellie and Jesse are talking. And they hear fucking Tommy getting fucked up, and they just go running out, and all of a sudden, bam!
Yeah,
Abby shoots that motherfucker in the head, and you just see him laying there with a fucking bullet in his face. You're like, well, damn.
Yeah, there's a lot of shocking scenes in the game. I didn't mind the sex scene, but I will say that I think they should have been, fair and show Ellie, eating out her girlfriend there. But if we're just talking about being fair, equality. No, but I really enjoyed it. I'd say my problem with it was like I didn't like Owen and stuff like that. So those dragged it down.
Yeah, I feel like I liked Owen a little bit more in this playthrough. The thing with Owen is I feel like he's just kind of bland.
Very bland. He's the worst character of the game for me. Of the main
of the main sub characters.
What sucks is because
I would say he's the most boring.
He's the most boring because Abby is actually a really well crafted character. I love her fear of heights.
Abby's well made.
Yeah. And I love Yara. Is that the one who she works with? The two characters.
Yara's the big sister that gets killed. What is it?
Both of them. I like Yara.
Lev.
Those two characters were great. I thought she almost died at the end when she got punched, but But yeah, I love those characters. I
He-
love Abby. I like Ellie. I like how the game constantly challenges your views on characters that you've grown to love. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. Last of Us 2 is one of the best games out there, and that's why I put it in the A. To me, like to get into A, we're talking about that game has to really fucking like I have to be attached, and I was attached in that game.
Well, not just that. I think the reason why it's probably the best. What I love so much about Last of Us Part Two is that it takes that dark world from Last of Us One and it makes it so much worse, which
Yeah.
is something that a lot of people find uncomfortable, which I do too. But I like that. Like
Yeah.
I like that feel, and not just that. Like the music for that entire series, particularly for Part Two, is like some of the best it's been. It has such an eerie, dark tone to it
Yeah.
that really complements that game's world and story really well.
Mhm.
Um,
I love I love
Naughty
it.
Dog. Yeah, no, I think Naughty Dog's the masters of making cinematic games for Sony, and I feel like they definitely did it with this and their combat and their story.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like you're playing a TV series.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's why it's becoming a TV series, which I'm kind of like, that's
I
cool, but
cannot
I'm
wait
also
for it.
like, do we have to? I mean, that the fucking games feel
It's
like
like
I'm
it's kind
watching
of
a
like the
movie.
Uncharted. It's kind of like the Uncharted movie.
Yeah, except Uncharted movie looks
Honestly,
like shit.
yeah, but I want to see it. I'm getting a free ticket. I can't wait. I
If I
cannot wait.
got it for free, I'd see it, but there's no way I'm paying for that fucking
It's
movie.
going to be the first movie I've seen in like 2 years.
You said
in
forget
theaters.
Spider-Man. Let's go see Uncharted.
That's right. Forget Spider-Man. I want to see Uncharted.
Okay.
But yeah, I love Last of Us Part Two, man. And I was surprised myself putting it ahead of God of War, but I feel like I have to replaying it recently because
I mean,
I adore that game.
that's the thing with games or anything.
And like I told you, playing it with headphones with 3D audio,
different experience.
terrifying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
an incredible experience. I fucking love doing that. I started using them about halfway through. I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like just the 3D audio, everything, like fighting the Rat King with them. Like, oh,
Well, the atmosphere, or
amazing
not, sorry, not the
experience.
atmosphere, the sound design in Last of Us always been top notch.
Fantastic. For Naughty Dog in general, all their
Yeah.
games have terrific sound design.
So we both have Spider-Man the same, but none the same in A and some the same in B. So is it interesting that we have similar tastes but slightly different? I am really excited. Actually, just of all the ranking lists that we've done, this is my most interested for what people have because I feel like these games are all vastly different
Very
from each other.
subjective.
Yeah, and like some people might just totally be into something like Ghost of Tsushima. They were traveled to this world, loved every moment. It's the greatest game for the PS4. I've seen people say that. Whereas other people, Last Guardian might be the worst game they ever played or one of the best. I am so excited to see what people put on
Maybe
their
people
rankings.
think Last Guardian is better than Last of Us, God of War, Horizon, and Ghost.
It certainly can be. And I've seen people that just don't like Last of Us for legit reasons or don't like Horizon or don't like Spider-Man. So I am super excited to see where people put it. I hope you guys did enjoy this list. This was a lot of fun. 19 games. You got Little Venom up there. He's saying, hi, how are you? Let's eat you. I love you. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Come back for more. We're always going to do more videos like this. We are doing a Bloodborne / Soul / Sekiro, or all those games.
I thought we were just doing Souls games.
We're doing Soul and Soul-like games before Elden Ring because
except Ninja Blade. Ninja Blade doesn't count, even though it is a Miyazaki game.
Yeah, we're not doing Miyazaki only. We're doing Soul-like games. So that's those good old ones like Lord of the Fallen. Can't wait to rate that. So I hope.
So it's not just like from software games. We're doing Souls likes.
Soul-like. We're doing Surge. Remember that beauty?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, I love Lord of the Fallen. I got that game for $3 2 years ago.
Or that mortal fucking soul. Oh man, it's gonna be fun.
Mortal Shell.
But I think you guys will come back for that. It's gonna be a ton of fun. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, do the things we love, like hit that like button and comment. We'd like to see comments. Robbie one day will get a YouTube and say, hey guys, I can comment. But until then, he'll just look at your post and cry. And you guys have a great day.
It's fair.
You're not gonna do the ah!
No, I'm just gonna say peace up, A-Town down.
Oh fuck, that's Usher.